Okay, so in season 1 of Love, Death, and Robots, there's an episode called Good Hunting about this fox spirit demon thing that eventually loses her power to change between a fox and a human form.
I'm stuck now in this human form. No claws, no sharp teeth. I can't even run very fast.
She ends up in steampunk Hong Kong at the turn of the 20th century as a prostitute, and one of her clients is the governor, who ends up being an extremely sick bastard who can only get hard for machines, so he turns her whole body into a machine. She eventually finds her friend from the countryside who is now an engineering wizard, and he agrees to help her, so he makes these modifications to her robot suit which allow her to eat coal and turn into a robot fox in order for her to take revenge on the colonial masters who did this to her.
Good hunting, Yen.
She then goes full Batman, killing bad dudes at night while running along rooftops and jumping off walls and doing all kinds of rad shit. So, let's make that game.
I dream of hunting in this jungle of metal and asphalt. I imagine my true form leaping from beam to ledge to terrace roof until I am at the top of this island. Until I can growl in the faces of all the men who believe they can own me.
Obviously, it's a third-person action open-world game. I'm thinking like Prototype meets Sleeping Dogs meets Arkham City, with a giant, dense, extravagant steampunk Hong Kong filled with old-timey technological wonders. The story could be about killing the governor and eventually overthrowing the British colonial masters of Hong Kong and reclaiming it for China as this demon-robot hybrid. Because that is fucking rad. That is objectively fucking rad.
What I want is to hunt. Hunt the men who think they can own us. The men who perpetrate evil but call it progress.
As you progress through the story and start taking down powerful British houses, you will reclaim land back from the colonial aristocracy, and the local Chinese population that was originally displaced by the occupation will move back in. As the aristocracy begins feeling their power over the city weaken, they will begin panicking and lashing out. This means as you progress, you will see more hate crimes, beatings, and murders occur by random British thugs hired by aristocratic shitbags, so your actions will directly affect the state of the city throughout the game. But first, let's talk about the beginning. The first mission is you destroying a warehouse of a drug shipment or something. It's really up to you to decide how you want to play, stealthy or loud or whatever.
What's going on here?
I think this is where a lot of games can take clues from Elden Ring and other From Software games. I'm not saying it needs to be punishingly hard, but let players figure shit out and let them explore. So for instance, it won't tell you that there is a stealth system. It won't tell you anything about how the game is supposed to be played. You can just try things, like you can try stealth and see that it works, and you can try obviously going loud and see that how that works as well. Maybe sometimes it will be clear that its stealth is very bad, like if everybody has a ton of guns or something like near the end of the game, and it's very obvious from the firepower that the enemies have that you should not try to just go in loud and you really should try to be stealthy. I just think the game should not tell you how to do it. Just lets you decide based on the context of the situation. Give them a giant open world to explore, put nothing on the UI, like legit nothing, except for maybe a little marker indicating where your objective is, which is easily turned off if the players feel like it. One of the goals of this Fox Spirit Demon game should be immersion, really trying to let the players sink into this world as you jump and wall bounce and glide around this incredible steam-powered city, which conveniently has tons of coal lying around for you to eat to power yourself. And of course, there wouldn't be a bar in the corner telling you how much power you have left. It would be visual cues on your suit, kind of like the health bar in Dead Space. And these visual cues would tell you how much health/coal power you have left, or if you're close to overheating. Obviously, if you start overheating or get close, your metal suit can start turning red, and pieces of the suit can maybe start rising up and releasing more steam, and is clearly trying harder to reduce the heat level. So you have to kind of balance the overheating with the abilities that you want to do in the game. I can just see this movement system where if it's done right and there's almost nothing on the HUD, players will be entirely wrapped up in jumping and climbing and bouncing between the walls and gliding and exploring and fighting their way around this city. And I think Dying Light 2 is also a good game to take from here because in that they have this stamina bar for your parkour, where if you run out of stamina when you're trying to do something, like you're holding onto a ladder or holding onto a windowsill or something, you will fall. And so there are stakes and consequences involved, which give the parkour a lot of tension. You feel completely in control of your character and responsible for what happens to your character. On the flip side, there's a game like Horizon Forbidden West, where the climbing around in that game feels completely bland and devoid of tension, and honestly just feels like boring filler because you basically can't die when you're climbing onto things. You know, there's an infinite amount of time you can sit there holding on. Of course, the climbing isn't a main component, but it's also completely devoid of tension and a waste of time. And I think, again, we can take another cue from Elden Ring, where Elden Ring almost always gives you a reward for going to explore every little nook and cranny. And I think in this game, maybe there could be like little steampunk technological wonders you could find that you could bring back to the engineer, which he could then reverse engineer to make upgrades for your suit in his workspace and show you how it works. Or maybe you could find little pieces of the world that really make it feel like a lived-in place, because I think at the end of the day, that is the real goal of a game like this. You want to build this world as fully realized as possible. I just think in general we can try to make these systems more invisible in our games, which will then make the games even more enjoyable and immersive for the players. So yeah, that's the Steampunk Hong Kong Fox Demon open world idea game. I'd play that.